This will be a different sort of video. The following text is a reading directly extracted from Dan Zarfati's book, UFOs, Science, ESP, Final Considerations, Book 7. The text is called The Possible Role of Secret Societies, and it will start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
There is a controversial aspect we have yet to address: the role of secret societies in connection to the UFO phenomenon. As mentioned earlier, certain individuals throughout history have had special relationships with these things, UFOs and aliens. Some humans eventually came to understand the modus operandi of these adaptive interfaces, the changing guises of aliens. This dynamic is a direct consequence of the UFO phenomenon's tendency to divide people into those who know and those who don't. As a result, private societal arrangements, what we might call secret societies, have formed over the ages. These groups appear to have been shaped by their interactions with the phenomenon, maintaining and passing down knowledge of these encounters through time. Imagine a hidden network of individuals who have studied the phenomenon deeply enough to understand its operational logic. The cycle of confusion, the introduction of cultural memes before they become mainstream, and the careful withholding of proof. Such a group, with access to unique data, for example classified documents, non-public encounters, private witness testimony, might see a chance to steer the public narrative for its own benefit. They might think, if this intelligence is guiding human culture along certain trajectories, nudging us toward particular technologies, belief systems, or social structures, then by aligning their own strategies with these guiding nudges, the secret society could position itself as a favored collaborator or at least a savvy co-creator of the future. If the phenomenon's strength lies in shaping how people interpret reality, then a human group that understands this game can try to dominate the narrative. For example, by controlling what leaks to the media, funding particular research directions, or sponsoring influential thinkers, they could channel public perception in a direction that suits both the phenomenon's underlying logic and their own agendas. This could mean promoting certain myths while downplaying others, or attaching the group's ideological spin to new revelations so that public understanding moves along lines that benefit them. If UFO phenomena hint at new technologies or future capabilities, a secret society might attempt to become the gatekeeper of those breakthroughs by aligning themselves with the intelligence's hinted directions, adopting modular organizational structures, predictive analytics, agent-based modeling, or other techniques mirrored in UFO encounters. They could be the first to develop cutting-edge tools that replicate the controller's methods on a human scale. Ultimately, they might be seeking to glean insights to maintain power. Imagine a group that figures out how to consistently predict cultural shifts and technological fads decades before they become mainstream, effectively steering economic and political outcomes. This alliance would not necessarily be a formal contract. There's no need for a literal handshake with non-human entities. It may be more about adopting a similar mode of operation. The secret society might interpret the phenomenon's tactics, ambiguity, theatricality, narrative control, and use them to influence populations. If the intelligence behind UFOs is indifferent or tolerant of such mimicry, the secret society effectively becomes a junior partner. It learns to surf the conceptual waves introduced by the phenomenon, staying ahead of the cultural curve, thereby granting itself influence and stability in a world of shifting paradigms. Alternatively, if the intelligence disapproves, the secret society may find itself thwarted, its carefully constructed plans leading to dead ends or unexpected exposures. But even that would not dissuade them from trying. These groups would be constantly probing, learning from the phenomenon, trying to guess at its intentions and get a leg up on the competition. Secret societies thrive on maintaining exclusivity and secret knowledge. If understanding the UFO phenomenon's patterns and purposes provides a type of master key to world events, then possessing that key becomes a central part of their identity and power base. They don't just align with the thinking for the sake of spiritual or philosophical fulfillment, they do it to ensure that as new social and technological paradigms arise, guided invisibly by the phenomenon, they remain relevant and influential. In other words, they incorporate the phenomenon's logic into their long-term strategy, planning as if the world they foresee is one already partially scripted by this intelligence. Students of esoterica mention the hidden hand with such confidence, asserting that all this power emanates from this very planet. Then they engage in mental gymnastics to explain away UFOs as the matter is much more complex than they believe. The idea that a secretive human network could try to align itself with this intricate, perception-manipulating intelligence is not far-fetched. They be motivated by a desire for predictive power, cultural steering capabilities, and long-term advantage. By adopting the phenomenon's tactics, narrative control, symbolic communication, strategic ambiguity, they might hope to orchestrate aspects of society in parallel with what they perceive as the phenomenon's broader design. First, let us emphasize that this group recognizes we are dealing with adaptive interfaces in earlier eras, labeled as spirits, angels, old gods, and so on. Second, these societies are extremely old and multi-ethnic, having persisted through long spans of history. Third, they appear to maintain a solid grip on strategic positions. As a result, intelligence communities are likely under their influence. Fourth, given how central UFOs are to the conversation, many of their representatives generate hype or distractions that steer away from the core issues. Efforts to leverage skeptics largely fizzled as expected. Fifth, some assume that without these elites we'd be much better off, but that may be naive. We might simply face other tyrannical powers, less competent perhaps, or slip into such extreme conformity that halts progress. Sixth, these societies probably include their own magicians, seers, paranormalists, and intellectuals. Now we shift topics. A point of convergence emerges when we consider the ancient world and the adaptive interfaces that persist through time, often in unsuspected ways. These interfaces sometimes appear embedded within certain castes or societal structures. One compelling example is the Oracle of Delphi in ancient Greece, where riddles from higher intelligences were conveyed to humans. This served as a point of convergence in Greek culture, connecting divine or otherworldly knowledge to human affairs. Interestingly, a UFO case draws a direct parallel between the ancient Oracle of Delphi and contemporary ufology. One of the most intriguing cases involving physical traces left by a UFO landing occurred in Delphos, Texas, in 1971. This modern event, sharing the name of the ancient oracle, seems to establish a symbolic linkage between the ancient Delphos as a site of mysterious intelligence and the phenomenon's manifestations in today's world. In summary, anticipation, imitation, secrecy, disinformation, misdirection, hidden advantages, and strange logic. Do you find these categories familiar?
They mimic gods but whisper like traders, dealing in patterns, not planets or prayers. Their message is buried in places and names, and someone's always listening, just out of frame. They don't land, they infiltrate. Through symbols, silence, and masks of fate. The hand may be hidden, but the script is not.